If you're single and frustrated, there is a reason for it. And no, it isn't just bad luck. There are brutal truths that most men ignore, and it ends up costing them so dearly. So if you're willing to hear them, these will truly change your life, because they're the lessons that I teach to my clients, and they're the lessons that I learned that truly changed my dating life and allowed me to date the girl of my dreams and have an amazing life because of them. So we're going to dive into the first one, the first brutal truth, and that is date people that want to date you. This is the categoric failure of almost all men and the root of nearly all bad dating advice. We get so obsessed about trying to date someone who isn't really interested in us. We end up being in friend zones, we get ghosted, we get strung along, we live in the fantasy of being with that person. And so much of dating advice out there is related to this, of how to get her to text you back, how to get her interested, when it's completely wrong. We should not be pursuing someone that is not pursuing us as well, because what it does is puts us in a weak and needy frame. We're chasing after her, and how is that going to make her feel? It's like, well, ooh, this guy seems a bit needy, seems quite keen, I'm not really interested in anything with him. It's an impossible frame for a man to navigate if he's trying to date someone who doesn't want to date him. I'm sorry, this is going to hurt you out there. It would have hurt younger me, who was fantasizing about that girl he sat next to in class, or the girl from the office who, still 6 months deep, nothing's really happened. And it's because they're taking up your time, they're taking up your energy. If something hasn't happened already, it's not going to happen. So we have to learn to let go. The second brutal truth, so we've got date people who want to date you. The second truth, if the people you want to date don't want to date you, then it's on you to improve. The responsibility is yours. And that sucks, because it's easier to blame the world. It's easier to be like, well, women and their nonsense requirements, it's just so tough out here in modern dating, it's their fault. And like, yeah, you know what, it is quite tough. But where does that get us? What does that do for me if I'm just like, well, the problem's out there, not in here? Well, I never get what I want out of life. So you either get to be, you get to be right or you get to be rich. And in this case, rich means you get to have the relationships you truly want. Pessimism never gets you anywhere. And the thing is, this is an optimistic message, because you can improve. I've seen it. I'm an example of this. I was a massive loser all through my teens. Honestly, still into some of my early 20s, I was bullied, I had no self-esteem, I was needy, I was unattractive, all of these things, but I decided like, well, I'm gonna work on this. And I slowly, strategically made my way through and developed myself into someone who now doesn't struggle with dating at all. That last January, I decided that I wanted to have a girlfriend again. I was like, I've been single, had fun for a while, I think I'd like to meet someone I'm truly interested in. So I set off on that mission, and it took me, about 45 days, I think it took me, 47 to meet the girl that I'm still dating to this day. And that was because I'd spent that time improving myself. And there are plenty of ways that you can do that too. Working on how you choose to present yourself, your communication, your emotional development, so we're not all insecure, needy fucks like I was. There are so many different ways that we can continue to develop ourselves, and it's absolutely essential. Then, number 3, this is where it gets complicated from the last one. I help guys work their way through this, and sometimes I feel a bit of resistance, and that's because of brutal truth number 3, which is the "it's just not me" fallacy. I see this when I'm maybe introducing something for them to do that's a little outside their comfort zone. It's walking over, it's approaching somebody on the street, it's trying a new outfit, trying a new social activity, and it's like, but it's just not really me. And what I would say 9 times out of 10, that is a coping strategy. That is a coping strategy for not wanting to be vulnerable, set foot outside your comfort zone, expose yourself a little bit more. Because realistically, well, the person that you are right now is not getting you the results that you want. So why would you want to stay as that person? Do not sacrifice who you potentially could be for like the broken version of who you are now. Why is he more valuable than who you could be? And it's being willing to take those steps of being like, okay, well, I've never been to a salsa class before, but I feel like it'd be a good move for me. I feel like future me would probably appreciate that, so I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna embarrass myself. I'm gonna be stressed out my nut because I like to be good at things, and it's gonna annoy me because I'm not that coordinated, but I'm gonna go anyway. And it's testing these and being brave and being courageous. Don't fall into this poisonous trap of just being like, well, it's just not really me. I don't care. There's a quote in, is it Hitch, where it's like, you is a very fluid concept right now. And that is what you should be like. If you're not getting the results you want in the world, then it's on you to change. There's the Einstein quote, where is it, insanity or madness is repeating the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. And too many men do that in dating. They expect different results whilst refusing to change themselves. Then, fourthly, this is pretty savage, but women are looking for a man who adds value to their life, and right now, not many men do that. This is pretty brutal, but it is true. I think in the UK, sorry, I've got hair. In the UK, what have I got on my face? It's a bug. If in the UK, men are out-earned by women in their 20s by £1,111 a year on average. Women are out-earning men. They are more successful than men. They have better social lives. They're more interesting and have more going on. It is becoming more and more difficult for a man to add value because, well, what are we up to? What's men's favourite hobby right now? Video games. And realistically, unless you want to be a pro gamer where you're just absolutely crushing it and you're at the top of the dominance hierarchy, you're probably not adding much value doing that. And that's the challenge. Men now have to grow past simple protect, provide. Does still help, still very attractive, but it isn't enough anymore. There are more things that a man needs to do to be able to add to a woman's life, because she doesn't actually need him at the minute. She's doing pretty well. So men have to work on other things, their ability to be able to emotionally regulate themselves so they can truly connect and be authentic. Those ways that they can excel and pursue more, pursue purpose, do something with your life that is interesting and exciting. Be a man that answers the question, why you? Which is a lesson I teach all of my clients. Is like the fundamental question a guy needs to answer is why you? And it doesn't mean that he needs to be Brad Pitt. Doesn't need to be spectacular, but he does need an answer that is more than just like, well, I'm nice. It's like, fuck nice, all right? Try and offer something that's uniquely you. You don't need to be perfect. Perfect's not actually ideal either. That's a topic for another video. But perfect gives off a weird impression. It's just wrong. But there are ways that men need to work on themselves to realize that in order to date, we need to bring something to the table and sit on the edge of your bed one day and just ask, like, what could I do? What could I do to develop? What could I bring to the table? What are the things about me that are a bit more unique? What are my interests? You don't have to be fucking spectacular, but just bring something to the table. And the fifth brutal truth, and this is going to ruin a lot of your like romantics out there, but there is no perfect person. Relationships are just sacrifice. It's realizing that to give up on everyone and settle for one person, that's a sacrifice. To give up on this weird ideal you have in your head of the perfect person, that's also a sacrifice. But do you know what we're awful at in modern day? Sacrifice. We get everything we want. Want to watch whatever you want? Cool, Netflix. Order whatever you want. Do whatever you want. We've been trained out of the ability to sacrifice. So then this has led to the rise of situationships. Because why should I commit to this girl when Tinder is showing me girls number 1,000 through 2,000 over here? Why should I bother with that? Like, we don't have that part of us anymore that is so trained up to be able to see what is truly real and decide to take what is real over the imaginary. So you won't find the perfect person, because honestly, what do you know about what is perfect? I haven't got a clue. If I map out my perfect person, it's just like, it's probably not going to be a good match for me. If I have someone that gave me everything that I wanted, I'd probably become a tyrant. It's like, we're not very good judges of what we want. It's another fall down of dating apps. Like, we're not great at picking out exactly what we want. We almost need to feel it out from the interaction with somebody and build the perfect relationship, as opposed to just be like, oh, well, that person's perfect. Probably not. Like, you need to actually find someone and build the dream relationship, which is what I did. I found someone that I thought I was truly compatible with. I was like, this girl, she is great. We're really compatible. And then we went off and built something closer to my dream relationship together, because we sacrificed for it. And now, if you're in that mode, you are that romantic, you are getting penned in, and because this will ruin all of your relationships, by the way. There are two things that you should be looking for in a relationship, and it's what I look for, it's what I teach my clients to look for. Only two. Not all of the big long lists that we're all accustomed to asking for, that there are two things you should look for in a girl, and if you find them, never let her go. And if you want to know what they are, check out this video here where I show you the two things that you cannot miss out on when it comes to dating.